Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Athletic NBA Daily's NBA Draft live stream. The NBA Draft is about to happen, everybody, and it's going to be amazing. We're so glad that you're with us. With me, Es Baraheni is going to be my co-host along for this ride to kind of help guide us through who are these guys. I don't know how many of you guys are draft sickos like we are, but it's going to be an incredible night. I really like this draft class. I think I cannot wait to see what everybody's going to do. We have the Mavs on the clock as we speak, and I think we all know what they're going to do.
Yeah, I wonder. They have so many options.
So many choices. They could pick anyone.
They could pick anyone. They have the option. The world is their oyster. I was actually thinking about this like 30 minutes ago because they were doing the whole Cooper Flag feature and they were at his hometown. I don't know if you saw any of that, but like ESPN was at his hometown. They were doing the whole event. And I'm still kind of in awe that the Mavericks have the number one pick.
I know. Yeah.
1.8% chance that they had the pick.
Unbelievable.
They did the whole Luka Doncic trade that still, I'll just be sitting by myself and still shocked that happened. It all just feels so coincidental, and I've been taught not to believe in coincidence.
I know.
But man, yeah, it's crazy. Look, by the way, to your point of the whole like loving this draft, I've been forced to love this draft, The Toronto Raptors have forced me to fall in love with this draft because I am locked in. I've had to watch like 20 to 30 guys because the range is so wide for the number 9 pick. And even before we knew they were going to get the number 9 pick, it was just like, okay, maybe they'll get the 4th pick or the 5th pick and 6th pick. And you're kind of looking at those guys too. So yeah, I've been forced to love this draft, but you're right. There is a lot of talent here for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the draft is nothing but selling hope. And
Yes, absolutely.
So you've got to buy into it. So I'm currently live from the Jones Assembly in downtown Oklahoma City for a Down to Dunk Thunder watch party. And so the people at the Jones were gracious enough to give me their upstairs to do this live stream in. So this is not my house. I don't own like a ton of records and have like this cavernous place. Just so you know where I'm coming from. Yeah. So anyways, the championship celebration continues here at the Jones Assembly for Thunder fans. And we're going to find out who they pick at potentially 15 and 24. I would guess they're going to do something, which is pretty exciting. And there's some talk about trade up. Before we get started, where are you at as far as are we going to go by the Twitterverse?
Oh, we were just having this conversation.
Or are we going to go by the television?
As people who cover the NBA, it is on us, in my opinion, to follow whoever gets us the information faster.
Okay.
But I believe in the purest approach. If I wasn't covering this draft right now, I would love the purest approach. I think it would be beautiful. I think it would be blissful. It really would be to be surprised at every pick. That would be awesome. Do you feel any sort of way about this?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like the reporters have ruined the draft in a lot of ways.
Yep.
They didn't have to do this. You didn't have to go and do this. But I feel like they've done it. They've ruined the draft. And now, like, you can't just watch and see what unfolds. Somebody has to know before. I kind of like watching and seeing it unfold, but I also feel weird about the people watching knowing before we know
what's going to happen. Yeah.
So I think it's okay.
Also, someone always knows before we know.
Facts.
Yeah,
but not everyone who's watching. I mean, there's people that know. We know that Cooper Flag is going to go number 1, but I'll just say this. I'm okay with following on Twitter and giving ourselves a longer runway to talk about these players.
I will tell you guys right now. I think we are pretty clearly like there is no guess or hypotheticals about who's going to go number 1 and number 2. We've talked about it for a month, and like I'm trying to think of when was the last draft where that was the case. Like the Ant Edwards, James Wiseman draft, maybe, but people thought LaMelo could get in there.
Yeah, people thought LaMelo could go 2. Is that true that we haven't known number 2 for a while? I mean, I think we knew Brandon. I mean, I guess the Brandon Miller one was a wild card. Alex Sarr, we probably I think we knew was going number 2, but
we
weren't
kind of
sure.
knew. Well, we didn't know who was going number 1. Also, it was like Risa Shea probably, but
Paolo Chet. We didn't know Paolo was going number 1 until the day of.
Yeah.
Cade, Jalen Green. Like your point's made.
Yeah,
I mean, that's true.
It's been a while.
There's no drama at the top of this draft.
All right, what do you guys think Adam Silver is going to say in this wonderful speech of his? Very curious. In a city of 700,000 turned out shouting out your Oklahoma City Thunder. Oh yeah. That picture of Shea on the bus is so cool, by the way.
Can you believe that?
That was incredible.
Shout out to Jimmy Dew. He works for the Thunder. He's a photographer, and it's that like if you live in Oklahoma City and you have like if you've seen that picture, like it should give you chills because it is literal. And we talked about this.
The history, right?
It's the two. It's like the best and the worst things that have ever happened to this state, like in one photograph. It is unbelievable.
Yeah, that is really cool. That is really cool. And yeah, it was also cool to see Shea have the Canada flag wrapped around him the whole day. I mean, obviously from my perspective, that was very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm glad that OKC got to appreciate that. I'm also glad that I got a chance to experience Oklahoma.
Yeah, me too.
Before it happened, you know.
Yeah, me too, man.
You kind of could feel like the excitement of it all. And to kind of know now that like the places that I kind of know and have been, I'm like, oh yeah, we were there. You know, when I was watching the parade, I'm like, yeah, we were there. Oh, that's Bricktown and whatever. But yeah, it was cool. It was cool.
Oh, that rocks. So the Mavs are officially on the clock.
Wonderful.
What are they gonna do? Who knows? I do think the Cooper flag fit with this current iteration of the Mavs, which honestly doesn't matter all that much in the grand scheme of things, but it will be interesting to see what else they do with their roster to get it to a place where it makes a little bit more sense. Like we talked about on the show that dropped this morning, listen, they've got to get some guards in. Yeah. And so Christian Clark is going to join us here after they make the pick and kind of help break some of that stuff down with us and break down this Mavericks. I mean, historic Mavericks pick. I mean, if you're a Mavs fan, your hope was destroyed earlier this season, and now it's all back today.
I can't even imagine the whirlwind that they went through over the last 3 months to go from losing your franchise star, the guy you thought you were going to win an NBA championship, went to the finals just now, to like the fire Nico chance and the craziness that happened with that, to now having the number 1 pick. And, you know, in a lot of ways, it feels like your franchise is saved from the damnation of trading, you know, Luka Doncic. To the fit point, I think some of the intangible stuff that Cooper does in terms of defensively, like the length and activity is insane. They were showing some of the measurables and the comparisons to his measurables, and it's like Jason Tatum, Kawhi, Scottie Pippen, and these are all like long dudes, you know?
Yeah.
He might not ever get there in terms of the offensive potential, but I think from a defensive side, it's like, how are you going to score on a Cooper flag, Anthony Davis, Derek Lively front court is my exciting, you know?
That's super sick. Like that defensively, no issues with what's going on there. I think they'll be stuck in the mud offensively a lot, especially until Kyrie gets back. But you weren't supposed to be that good anyways, in my opinion. And so like, I think that this is at least a direction to pick. But they just need to find some backcourt help for sure. But what do you think Cooper Flag's offensive ceiling is? Because I think that we all know like he's the super switchy forward that is brilliant as a defender, and he's also just has he's got that dog in him. I think that he's a guy that is going to bring it every single night.
Yeah, he's going to get a lot of like easy points in transition, a lot of easy looks in the dunker spot. I think what's underrated here, and maybe this is a hot take, but you could argue that Cooper Flag is the best passer in the draft. I think there's a legitimate argument to that. And there are some really talented passers in here. Like We were talking to Derek Parker, and he thinks Jaor Demon is the best passer in this draft.
Yep.
Some people say Kasparis Yakashonis from Illinois is the best passer in this draft. Dylan Harper from Rutgers, who's going to go second overall tonight, that's another guy that people think is the best passer in this draft. But I think Cooper's size and his overall feel for the game just matches really well with what Dallas can do with their lob threats and what they – so, like, his passing more than anything I think is the immediate skill that he can bring. And I believe in the jumper. We'll see if he can ever be a guy who can, like, create off of the bounce and, like, create his own shot consistently. He did a little bit of that in Duke. Obviously, he did it in Montverde. I guess you kind of just want to see how that looks on an NBA court, but he's going to be able to get a lot of production just out of doing everything else at such a high level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why like the Scottie Pippen comps are kind of cool, because it kind of makes sense, as crazy as that sounds, as like a floor for what Scottie Pippen for what Cooper Flagg can be. Can he reach the highs though? That's the question.
I think he can. I think he's one of those. I think he's going to develop really well.
Ahi Ads just said, how are you tweeting about Dune and doing this at the same time? Yeah, Denis Villeneuve, by the way, Dune director, just got announced to direct James Bond, and I'm very excited for that. So,
wow.
Yeah, that's more exciting to me than this number one pick. Right?
Tweeting about Dune.
Yes,
wow.
Absolutely.
Shout out.
Man.
Shout out to Dune.
Yes, great movie. If you haven't watched it, by the way. Yeah.
I haven't. I have not watched it.
What? Okay, you gotta hop on. Dune. The first Dune is good. The second Dune is a masterpiece. You know,
okay,
just incredible. But yeah.
Okay,
yeah. Anyways, how do you feel about Cooper Flagg and the Mavericks?
Yeah, I think they just clearly had some incredible luck to get this guy. I think that it's going to help buoy their franchise in a big way. I would be just all in on him and Derek Lively as the front court of the future.
So you would just tear it up and start over with?
I mean, if it were me, yes. Give me other draft picks. Give me chances to bring in guys, because I think that's a great start to a long-term build. I think you can even keep Kyrie.
Yeah.
But and I know that you can't trade Anthony Davis. I know you can't. You shouldn't do that. You just gave up Luka for him. Shouldn't do that. But I absolutely would do that, because I think this Mavs team is good, but I don't know how competitive they're going to be. But if you have Lively and Cooper Flagg in like 3 or 4 years, and you've got other draft picks that have kind of come in, I think that you've got a chance to be competitive for a long time. So. Coop officially is a Dallas Maverick.
Very tame very tame suit.
That's what I was about to say. I was going to ask you about his fit.
This is like stockbroker on Wall Street type of fit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it is.
Cooper Flagg, kind of looks like he looks like he's from an episode of Mad Men, you know?
Yeah, classic coat and tie. That's what we got here.
Yep.
For Coop. Look how happy these people in Dallas are.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I do feel for that fan base. Just because they were in the finals just a year ago. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool to see that happen.
It's so weird, man. It's still so weird to me. Oh my god. Oh my god, it's still so weird. Chat, can you guys please just confirm to us that we're not dreaming here? Because it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, please. It feels like a dream. Seeing.
Yeah.
Have you been to the draft before, by the way?
No, but I'm hoping one day I can go to just see how bizarre it is, because I feel like it's a very bizarre thing to cover live.
It is. Yes, it is. It is very cool. You've got to at least go do it once. It's super fun. And especially if you're covering it for a specific team, I don't know that many people know this, but like after, let's say a Mavericks reporter is there, Cooper Flagg is now going to go to about 50 different stations.
Oh my God. I can't even imagine.
And it's like, first he'll go talk to the people at ESPN, and then he'll be on a different broadcast. And then he'll go in the back, and there is like a station where he gets to like take his first picture for his first playing card Not playing card. I sound like I'm 50 years old. He gets to get his old playing card. That's not even the right word. That's not even the right word to use. I'm so old. He gets.
I know what you mean, though. You know.
And yes, I know. I'm sure everyone knows what I mean, but they're also like, "Oh my gosh, you sound like you're 75 years old." But anyways, like and then they go do radio, and then they go on to like the very end, and then they'll talk to local reporters.
Yeah.
And so, sorry, Mike Overholt in the chat. What's wrong with 50? Nothing's wrong with 50. I'm okay. I sounded like I was 80. Let's say that. Okay. Sounded like I was 80 years old. Nothing wrong with 80 either, but
yeah,
I shouldn't have said it like that. But it's a long process for these guys. It's a really cool night. But like there's just
exhausting.
There's so much media. There's so much stuff they have to do after this. Yeah. And so this is in Barclays Center, and they basically use the inside the arena for the draft stuff, and then in Barclays they have a practice gym,
right?
And the whole practice gym is like marked off for all these little stations that are within there. And it was funny. I was doing Down to Dunk with Alex Spears a couple years ago when I was at the draft, and they were tearing down the stations while I was doing the pod, and these guys did not care how loud they were at all. They were just throwing stuff, and it was so loud toward the end of it. But yeah, it's an incredible experience. I mean, it's cool. They get to sit at these tables with their families. They usually have like these like silver or gold colored basketballs that have their names on them.
I saw that for tonight too. Yeah.
So it's a really cool production. The stage is very cool. All the screens that are behind it are incredible. The NBA, there's a lot that I think, and even myself, that people complain about like the way the NBA does a lot of things. I think like the draft itself, not necessarily the broadcast, but the draft itself is done very well. It's very cool.
Yeah.
And if you ever had the chance to go, I'd recommend that you go, because it is really cool.
By the way, Cooper Flagg is wearing number 32 for the Mavericks. It's official. Lock it in. 32.
He's officially a big.
Yeah, that feels like a big's number.
It is.
It is, Last time it was worn. Wait, can you guess who was the last Maverick to wear number 32?
Oh my gosh, I have no idea. I'm not great with the number stuff.
Okay. If I were
to give me hints?
Yeah, give me some hints.
Yeah, give me hints. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, and this is a terrible hint because I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure he was a top 10 pick in the lottery, and he was drafted by the Phoenix Suns.
Drafted by the Phoenix Suns?
Yes.
Number 30. How long ago are we talking?
It's been a while. He no longer plays in the NBA.
Wow.
He got choked out by Serge Ibaka when this player was on the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Oh my gosh. Why don't I? Why?
I don't know how I know so much information about this player. Can anybody in the chat guess?
Yeah, come on, people in the chat.
Okay. Hold on. Let me give you another couple clues here.
Christian Clark is going to help me out. Christian is here after the Mavericks select Cooper Flagg to be their number one pick. Christian, what an insane time it's been to cover the Dallas Mavericks. I cannot believe, like we talked about, like what the fans have been through. Just think what Christian Clark has been through, everybody. Like, the guy arrives on the beat and it's like, hey, remember the chaos that you experienced in New Orleans? Let's up that by like 10 billion. Okay. Christian, welcome to the show. Glad you're with us. Tell us a little bit about like what is this moment like for Mavs fans, for the Mavs organization?
No, I appreciate you guys. It has been a pretty interesting ride here. I mean, I got here in December. I was like, all right, great. Luka Doncic, a couple of years, that's going to be great. I think I watched him play like 8 times. He gets hurt on Christmas and traded. And I mean, just a whole lot of not fun stuff, fans getting ejected, like, secret police vibe.
Oh my God.
Luka return game, just torching them. I think this was needed. I mean, look, I don't think this is going to completely fix things, but this definitely helps soften the blow a little bit. Cooper Flagg, I think more of like a Nico Harrison style player. We know that he how much he values defense. So look, I think there's still going to be like that fan anger for sure, but it definitely helps a little bit.
Do you how do you envision Cooper kind of fitting? We were talking about this earlier, but sort of the log jam in the front court a little bit. Obviously, that does not apply to Cooper. I imagine he's going to get opportunity right out the gate. But how do you see him fitting in with kind of everybody else on the roster with Anthony Davis, Derek Lively, Gafford, et cetera?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as they got the number one pick, I wrote that night. I was like, man, they just got a ton of front court players now, and could they use a PJ Washington, a Daniel Gafford to go out and get a lead guard? I mean, Kyrie Irving's not going to be back on the floor until 2026. I mean, they just this past week, they signed Gafford to an extension. They're saying right now, hey, we plan to keep Gafford. We don't plan on trading them, even though he is trade eligible. PJ Washington's got 1 year in his deal. But I mean, the way it looks right now is it looks like they're just going to keep all these dudes, use that taxpayer mid-level for $5.7 million and go out and get kind of the stopgap guy and potentially just roll with that. I mean, I would say the most likely scenario is they kind of roll with all these front court players, which there are a ton of them. I mean, it's like, is PJ Washington going to be coming off the bench? Like, that's a question I have right now. And like, how important was he on the team?
Najee Marshall was great for them last year too. And it's like, how does he fit into this? Also, speaking of that taxpayer mid-level exception, who do you think they're targeting? Because I know it's going to be a point guard, but what kind of names are you expecting here from the Mavericks side?
Yeah, I mean, Malcolm Brogdon is one of the names I've heard for weeks from a few people. D'Angelo Russell is a name that has popped up in the past few days. I think Mark Stein said, like, the Mavericks are going to be one of the teams right there to potentially get D'Lo. That's interesting. I mean, there's multiple people who've worked in the Nets front office, in the Mavericks front office now. There's just a lot of ties there. So, I mean, potentially D'Lo, it looks like. I'm not like the biggest D'Lo guy in the world, but it's also like, look, he's on the taxpayer mid-level. So
hard to be a big D'Lo guy.
Yeah, find me the big D'Lo guys. Would love to talk to those guys. Maybe it's the guy that's sneezing in the background.
Yeah, that was his protest. He's like, actually, D'Lo's properly rated.
The Spurs just selected Dylan Harper. Not a surprise at all. To see that happen. Christian, we'll give you one more question before we let you go. What do you think the expectations are for Cooper Flagg this season? What does that look like?
Like, I mean, I personally think like Cooper can come in and be a guy who is just a really good NBA player right away, which is crazy considering he doesn't turn 19 until December.
Yeah, that's wild.
I just think like they've got all these aging stars, and like Cooper, like they need that youth and that energy, and like Cooper's so willing to do the dirty work. Like he does have a lot of offensive polish, but like he loves playing defense. He's great moving without the ball. He great weak side shot blocker. Like I think he could really add value in those ways. And I mean, look, I'm really excited to see him play, and I mean, I'm expecting him to do big things right away.
Go read Christian Clark at The Athletic. Christian, thank you so much for joining us.
All right, fellas, appreciate y'all.
All right, see you, buddy. All right. So Dylan Harper is a San Antonio Spur. I think it's the right pick. I think he's the second best player in this draft as far as we know. And I think that the Spurs have a really interesting future ahead of them. I think that this, I mean, if I'm them, I slow this down a little bit because I do think that the future of this team lies in their two youngest players. And so it'll be interesting to see how this all unfolds because, like, obviously you trade for De'Aaron Fox, that changes your trajectory a little bit. But, like, how quickly Dylan Harper is ready to, be on a winner will be an interesting thing to see. You
let your players dictate the pace, right?
Yes.
I think one thing we learned from OKC, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, is like SGA dictated the pace because he very quickly, over the span of like 2-3 seasons, became an MVP type of player, right?
Yeah. Too good to tank. That was our thing. We made a shirt that said "Too good to tank" with an actual tank on the back.
Nice.
Yes.
I will. That's actually, I would like that. Anyways, you guys make great shirts as a side note. Just phenomenal stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that is another thing for the Spurs. Like, obviously, we know how good Wemby can be. if
Yep.
Wemby ends up becoming an MVP type of candidate next season, he accelerates your timeline a little bit. Trading for De'Aaron Fox accelerates your timeline a little bit.
Yep.
I do think your players dictate the pace, and that's why they went out and traded for Fox. I like the approach of drafting Dylan Harper. Again, I just think you need ball handlers in the NBA. You need guys who can do a bunch of different things. And Dylan Harper being so big, like he's 6'6", so you don't necessarily have to pigeonhole him as like a 1 or a 2. He can kind of play wing for you. So I think this is a fine decision, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Yep. Pick is in for the Philadelphia 76ers at 3.
So I guess nothing. Oh, do you want me to spoil it for you?
No.
Okay.
Is it VJ?
It is. Yeah, it is VJ.
VJ Edgecomb. Okay, so we're a little chalk at this point.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
the draft.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is fine. I think VJ. This is what I would have done. I've liked him for
Same.
a very long time.
He is my favorite player in the draft by far.
Yeah, he's super fun. He's athletic. I think he's ready to contribute in some ways. I think in others he's going to take some time. Offensively, I don't quite know what it looks like for him right out the gate, but I just believe in the tools this guy has to figure it out eventually, which makes it an interesting landing spot for him in Philly because there's pressure to perform right away. Defensively, he'll do it, but offensively, I don't know what to do with the fact that he can't make a layup. Help me with that. I don't know.
That is a weird phenomenon. I hope that, because what we saw with him in the Bahamas, like with the Bahama national team, he was hitting layups. He was acrobatic. I think the open floor allowed for him to get downhill more often. I honestly think there's a world in which, like VJ, you said that pressure to compete immediately. I actually think it's the opposite because
talk to me.
Yeah, because they have Maxey, they have McCain. Like, it's not like they're going to slot him in for 30 minutes a night immediately. It's like you're going to come in, you have to play great defense, especially when Nick Nurse is your head coach. You got to lock in on the defensive end. That's how you're going to get your minutes. Knock down corner threes, knock down catch and shoot opportunities, be a beast for us in transition. And I think those are things that he can immediately do.
Yeah.
And he can slowly bring along the rest of his game. I kind of love this spot for him. I get why Charlotte would want to do this because he would work extremely well with LaMelo Ball, but from a slowly bringing him along and incorporating him offensively, I do enjoy VJ in Philly, to be honest with you.
Fit check for VJ.
Oh, hold on. Let me see what you got.
Right now they're showing these Bahamas graphics.
Yes.
Which I'm enjoying very much.
Oh, nice. I would love to go to the Bahamas. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, me too. I'd love to be from the Bahamas and then play in the NBA. What a ridiculous life that is. You should only you should only be able to do one of those things.
Yeah,
either be from the Bahamas or play in the NBA. Doing both, unfair. Completely unfair.
Oh man.
Okay,
Yeah,
fit check.
Okay, I saw him wear all black everything, right? That's
all black. He's got the chain in front.
I do enjoy. Is that a turtleneck?
I think is it? No, it's not. He's just buttoned all the way up.
Okay. Because I was gonna say I enjoy the turtleneck suit look. Some guys can pull it off. I think VJ can pull it off.
VJ could pull it off. VJ's cool. There's something about him that's cool.
Yeah. Well, he plays with a lot of swag. That's the other thing. He plays with a ton of swag.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
And I like that about him. Also, the funny thing is, apparently, according to, I think it was actually Sam who mentioned the Sam Vecini in his latest mock, that VJ was sort of nervous in his Philly workout.
Yes.
It still worked out. Still worked out in his favor, and they still ended up taking him. Also, a individual workout is weird. Players go through it a lot, but 1-on-0
is
strange.
It's tough. And some of it is they're going to really just push you to see what you've got. And so apparently they liked the person. And that's the thing that a lot of times gets lost in some of like these scouts and YouTube
Yeah.
stuff is that like you don't get to know like who are they as a person. That is so much of this.
Yeah.
Because basketball can only be so much of what you do. And I think that that's something that like the team that I cover, the Thunder, have been keyed in on
Very
for a
good
long
at.
time.
Yeah.
Is that they look at who they are. And it sounds cheesy to say that like we choose like people over players, but like that's a real thing that's happened in Oklahoma City. Like there's not a lot of funny business going on within the roster, and they look for guys that fit. And VJ is a guy that I think will help the Sixers in that way too. Brian Geisinger is going to join us, who covers the Hornets after this next pick. Thoughts, predictions? Like what way
A little bit interesting now. Yeah.
Do you think they go? I think, I don't think there is a chalk pick from here. Is there? Like, what would the chalk pick be? Ace Bailey?
The chalk pick would be Ace Bailey, but
even then, like, it still feels weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, let's do this. Let's say that the Hornets are like, man, we can't decide. They call you and they're like, hey, S, we're on the clock. We can't decide. You got to make the pick. Who's it going to be?
Honestly, come on, Malawatch.
Seriously.
Yeah. I get a big.
Talk to me.
Yeah, get a big. I know Mark Williams is obviously a big that they traded the guy, so they must
did
not
trade
love
him
much.
They did trade him.
I think Malawatch is kind of cool. He works well with LaMelo. I'm not sure if honestly you could sell me on any of the guards right now in the Canipple, Ace Bailey wing types, whatever. Sure, but if you really want to make things interesting, I would say come on Malawatch because.
Wow.
He's a big and he has tons of potential. He's still very raw, but I think he works with LaMelo. He finished everything at the rim. And if there's one guy who's going to be able to get it to him at the rim consistently, it's LaMelo Ball.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of like a match made in heaven offensively. But yeah, come on, Malawatch. Yeah.
That surprised me. That really shocked me.
Yeah. Listen, at this point, honestly, from 4 to basically until the end of the lottery, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Whatever you feel, yes, there's probably like 5 or 6 guys here that you like more than the rest.
Yeah.
But beauty is in the eye of the beholder here, dude. Like just pick whoever you like.
Yeah.
You've done the exercise of going back and looking at drafts and you're like, this guy went 4th and this guy went 10th. Like,
all the time.
It doesn't matter. Just draft the guy you like.
Draft the guy you like. I would go Canipple if I'm them.
Fair.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Just draft Canipple. He's gonna be a good NBA player. Like he can really shoot the rock. He can be a connective tissue type of guy that they really need that kind of player in Charlotte because they have just a lot of guys that can just go cook. But do they have a guy that can help just get like the engine started with LaMelo? Like they don't really have that. And so just having a pretty big wing that's pretty stout that can really pass it, I just think that opens up some fun opportunities. I also like Trey Johnson there just as a like, hey, it feels very on brand for them to take a guy like Trey Johnson who can just
he's a
nets.
Crazy shooter. Yeah.
I like either one of those guys for them. I'm not the biggest Malawatch guy. He kind of terrifies me.
He rightfully should terrify people because those types of guys you literally don't know unless you know.
At 4, I am petrified to do something like that. I would go.
Fair enough.
I would go Canipple.
Canipple is a very safe choice.
Trey Johnson. They need to go. They should be a little bit safer. In my opinion, with
you were right.
Oh, they take Con?
They took Con.
Okay, I like this.
There you go. So sell it to me. Give me the pitch here.
Yeah, I think that they need guys that can come in and help LaMelo and help Brandon Miller play the style that they want to play. I think that they can play really fast with those 3 as your 3 engines of the offense, and Con is going to do nothing but help those guys accentuate what they do. Like he's going to space the floor for them. He's going to help get them open. I think he'll screen for them. I think there's a lot of good things that he's going to bring to the table. And Charlotte is thought of as this team that's like, are they ever going to win enough basketball games to do anything? I think that he could be the start of what helps them actually get over the hump, because I don't think LaMelo's not as bad as people think he is. Brandon Miller is a really good player that just needs to stay healthy.
Yeah.
Canipple, I think I like this for them. This is a great place for him to go, and he'll get to spread his wings there too.
Yeah,
like
he'll have opportunity.
Yeah, there's no one's boxing this guy in. I think that he can become the fully realized version of himself.
2 Duke
in
guys
Charlotte.
in the top 5, by the way. 2 Duke guys in the top 5.
Wow. 2 white Duke guys in the top 5.
2 white. Shout out JJ Redick.
Shout out to JJ Redick.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cool story for Canipple to be drafted within the top 5, and he's been a draft riser for sure. Fit check on Canipple.
It looks like he knew he was going there. He's got the colorway,
Yeah, he does.
He does have the colorway going for Charlotte. He even has the little teal pocket square. I swear.
Seriously, is he a teal pocket square?
Yeah, he knew he was going there. He knew. Well, I mean, like, you can't be surprised. It's a 4th pick, but
yeah,
I like it. Yeah.
Wow.
I've heard like Clay is the comp, but I feel like he can do a little bit more with the ball.
That is psycho behavior talk right there. Dude, I think he's like Klay Thompson, but better.
Listen, you said we're selling hope.
We are selling hope. That is the ultimate hope.
Hornets fans, LaMelo plus Con is Steph plus Clay aggregated.
Yeah, that's right. This is Klay Thompson that can dribble. Okay. Wow, I love that. That's great. That is psychotic. That's amazing. He's like one of the greatest shooters of all time. Plus more awesomeness is Canipple. Oh, that's amazing. I love that pick for them. I think that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
You can't, at this point for the Hornets, you can't afford another like bust pick here.
Yeah.
Like if they took like Noah Essengay, I'd be like, you know what? I love the enthusiasm, but I am terrified right now. I'm terrified if I'm a Charlotte Hornets.
I'm honestly kind of. I know there's a lot of Essengay fans, especially in the Raptors
and I'm not even saying that I think he's going to be a bust. But he's one of those like very low floor, very high ceiling kind of guys.
Yeah,
that's who he is. This is very safe, and also I think has a ton of high upside. Look at all the Canipple brothers.
Oh my God, this is incredible.
That.
Golly. Generation of Canipples.
Look at those guys. They're all going to be in the NBA.
Yeah, they are. Oh, God,
that's going to rock. All right, wait. Is it just the camera angle, or is the one brother 8 feet tall? It must be the camera angle.
It has to be. Or he's like closer, It's one of those deceptive things. There's no way.
Yeah. To the people in the chat. Yeah, the lights... I don't know. I think it's the camera. The lights aren't flickering, but it does look like a horror movie behind me.
It does.
It's happening with these. Good call. Good call on that. Man. Oh, man. Keith Parrish and Dave DeFore are watching the draft together. I just got sent a picture from Keith. And they're watching us on their phones. Shout out to you guys. 2 of the best. 2 of the best.
Shout out to those guys, man. Oh my goodness!
One of my friends just sent me a text that said that Woj should have just hopped in and tweeted. Sources say the Hornets have latched on to the Canipple.
Oh my God! I miss Woj. I miss Woj.
I know. Yeah, he was really finding his voice in the draft the last few years.
Yeah.
I think Brian Geisinger is going to join us soon to talk about this Hornets team and the pick. So we'll see if he still hops in. But if not, Utah Jazz are on the clock here at 5. Very disappointing for the Jazz to fall to 5.
But you know what? they
What?
have a chance to draft a guy who should be apparently top 3 in this draft. They could take Ace Bailey if they really believe in him.
Is that what you would do?
I have no idea. Truthfully, I could, because the Jazz have so many guards.
Yeah.
Keontae George, Isaiah Collier. They obviously have Clarkson and Sexton, which I imagine they try to either trade or re-sign, because at this point, I don't know,
Yeah.
But they have that, plus they have their front court set. They drafted Cody Williams to find a wing. Truthfully, very bad season for Cody Williams, unfortunately.
Yeah. That's rough.
Maybe their wing guy is Ace,
Give me Trey Johnson here.
Okay.
I mean, they got a lot of guards. They don't have one guard I believe in.
Right. You were 4 for 4 so far. So if you get Trey,
if they get Trey, I'd argue they don't have any guards. Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
I see they have a lot of guards, and I raise
but
you.
They don't have a guard
they have
to
no
believe
guards.
in. Yeah, that's fair. That's entirely fair. The pick is in, so we'll see what they
Okay,
end up choosing.
Here we go. We're about to find out who's going to be on the Utah Jazz, on the worst team in the West. Who's it going to be?
Oh, wow. I was right.
They took Ace. Oh, boy.
He does not look happy.
That
He does not look happy.
my stream must be way behind yours. Mine is like the very anti-Twitter stream here, because I'm watching on a TV here at the wonderful establishment, the Jones Assembly, and is way far behind. But yeah,
wow.
Ace, terrifying pick, horrifying pick for the Utah Jazz.
So you don't like it? I just think they need a wing. They
I know.
need a wing.
I know. I'm not an Ace guy. Are you an Ace guy? Did you say you're an Ace guy?
I think Ace needs to be in the right situation. I will say, I think there's a world in which Will Hardy, who is an awesome coach who gets the most out of his players, will make Ace into a really good player.
Yeah.
Is Ace willing to do that, though, is the question.
Yeah. It's a great question. Fit check on Ace.
Yeah, crazy fit. I love it. I really, really love it. Bold, the bedazzled, if you will.
Yep.
Did you see the boots?
I have not seen the boots. I'm trying.
Yeah, okay. So wait for him to stand up.
Okay. I do like the jacket. I think the jacket's obviously a custom job. It's very cool. He's got the red for Rutgers. He's got the chain on. And he is dapping up so many people.
Yeah, he is.
What is going on there? Okay. Yeah, I think if we're talking about the runway that he needs, this is a fine place for him to be. This is a fine. Oh, we got Brian Geisinger. Let's talk about Hornets for a second, then we'll dive back into Utah. Brian, what's up, man?
Hello, how's it going, guys?
What's up,
man? Have you latched on to the Canipple, Brian?
I have. I am. I'm there, and
what do you think, man? What do you think about the pick?
Well, first off, there were several puns that I was going to use, but I'll just stuff that. We'll press those back into the deep recesses of my brain. No, I like this pick for Charlotte. This is something that I had sort of wrapped my head around on kind of a while ago. I had sort of thought, if Edgecomb somehow slipped to 4, Charlotte would take him. If not, it's going to be Khan. I had him, 4th on my board. I covered Khan up close at Duke this season and love his competitiveness. Great teammate, has all those amazing great intangibles, but also the shooting, the strength, the passing, and a guy who also showed it that he could scale his game into a variety of different fashion, either when Cooper Flagg went down or going back to his pre-Duke days too. If you look at him at Nike EYBL, Wisconsin Lutheran High School, a guy that actually has he's not a very sudden or quick player, but certainly someone with his strength and footwork that can create, off the bounce a little bit too.
Do you, how do you see the fit with, because I think offensively it already pops with LaMelo, Khan, and Brandon, and just the way that they can work off of each other. But I think one of those situations is how does it look defensively, for a team that struggles on the defensive end?
Yeah, defensively, it's going to be a little tough to play those three guys together and really expect a ton of success, especially since there's not really like a backline rim protector to sort of like clean up, messes. I mean, Mark Williams has the size, but is sort of like more ahead of the curve offensively than he is defensively at this point. I think, it puts a lot of stress on Brandon Miller probably, and he's a decent defender, but probably not, the guy that you want to be your A1 guy. I'm sure.
Was he your guy? Was Canipple your guy to okay,
yeah.
Got you.
Yeah, he was. Like if Edgecomb had fallen to 4, I had VJ third on my board ahead of Con, behind Cooper and Dylan. But yeah, like I probably had those guys in a slightly like Con like in a slightly lower tier, but like had Con the top of the next tier along with guys like Trey Johnson, Ace Bailey, like that crew. So yeah, I like it. And defensively, they're still gonna have to rely on guys like someone like Josh Green to be a guy that sort of like is just an innings eater for them in the regular season as like the he's sort of miscast or overcast as a primary top perimeter defender. But I will say one last thing about Khan's defense. Yes, I think laterally he can struggle with guys crossing him over, attacking his top feet, that kind of stuff. But he is 220 pounds. So like the ways you can attack him are like in space, but you're not going to be able to just sort of like go at him like you would, Tyler Hero or something like that with just like straight, get a switch and try to like back him up in the post because he's strong, he's got good size, and he's super competitive. Yeah. So he's a little less vulnerable in that regard.
Yeah, this thoughts on him as a guy. I kind of see him as a guy that's going to be a connective tissue player for these bigger stars in Charlotte. How do you see that?
Yeah, I think with the combination of shooting and passing, high field player, there are a lot of different ways you can use him. I think you can get him into actions with Brandon Miller where both those guys are, running off down screens, flare screens on each side of the floor. Charlotte and Duke actually ran very similar 5-out offenses in terms of how they space the floor. Like they put their 5, Malawatch, or for Charlotte, it was Mark Williams. They would space their 5 to the wing. And so it's a similar spacing template between those two, between the Hornets and between Duke. So I think you can get him involved coming off the screens and sort of like mirroring Brandon Miller. I think there's a chance that like he can really be a nice screen setter for LaMelo Ball too, and a guy that you can use in guard to guard ghost screen actions, but also a guy that he might be able to screen, get a switch, and sort of like go to work against a smaller defender, in like the mid post area. That's something that the Hornets did early on with LaMelo Ball and Gordon Hayward. Yeah. And I'm a little, optimistic that Canipple's going to be able to give you, because of his strength and his passing and sort of like the shooting touch from multiple levels of the floor. Like he might be able to help you from like, in terms of some of these, like when you get to sort of like matchup ball as like a screener and the guy who can go after a switch too. So I think there's a lot of stuff you can get into, but just having that kind of shooter and off ball mover loosens everything up. And I think there's sort of more he can do with the ball and as a screener too, to help those dudes.
Brian, I just want to ask you one more thing. The Hornets don't have another first-round pick here, but they do have 2 seconds in 33 and 34, I believe, is the picks. Do you expect them to maybe try and get into the first round using those picks, or what else do you think they're going to do?
I think it's possible. My guess is that they're going to be working the phone lines and potentially looking for a way to slide back in here. But I do feel like every year in the draft, like things do kind of get flat in like the 25 to 40 range. So like, into that sort of like back, 10%, 20% of the draft, maybe then you try to find ways to package stuff and, move up to get one of those, Brooklyn's at 26, 20, if Cedric Coward or Walter Clayton Jr., someone that you really like falls into that range, maybe you try to swing. But ultimately, I think there's a chance they're going to be able to get some interesting players for, discount second round pick contracts, certainly at 33. And we'll see sort of if they end up using both those picks and sort of like rostering both of those players. But I think there's a chance to get like a similar caliber prospect at 33 compared to, 27 or 28 or something like that. So, they have a lot of work to do the rest of the night and certainly tomorrow night, provided they're still going into the second round with both of those picks. But like if they're going to package stuff to move up, I think they're going to be very, very careful about it. This is a team that is being very cautious with its assets and sort of like has an eye on the future and sort of a longer runway to work with. And so I think they're going to be, again, just very like judicious about how they go about using these picks.
Go follow Brian at BGEIS_bird and go listen to him on the BuzzBeat podcast. Brian, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
Appreciate you, man. Trey Johnson to the Washington Wizards, by the way. So
I like that.
Break my heart, will you? You know,
Why you say that?
I really wanted. I thought he was gonna fall. There was like a 5% chance. I was hoping he would fall to 9. He was my guy. I love him and VJ. Those were the two guys that I loved the most in this draft. But is what it is. You know, from a Raptors perspective, I didn't really expect him to be there. But today I got like a 5% chance of hope that he might fall. I love this for the Wizards, though.
He's great, especially with Jordan Poole out of there. You bring in another guy that's just gonna bring it. I like it. I like it a lot. I think that he profiles as a guy that is just going to shoot the heck out of the ball. Offensively, he's going to be able to do a lot. Defensively, there's a lot of questions, but I like Trey Johnson. He's a bucket.
Yeah, he is a bucket. I think of like, okay, him, Bub Carrington, Bilal, Sar. Yeah. They still have a couple of picks, or they might have one pick left in this draft in the first round. Yeah, they have the 18th pick left, and I imagine they try to address the center spot or maybe like a backup next to Sar or a guy that they can play next to Sar with Sorber or Asa Newell or someone along the lines of that.
Sure.
But I love Trey. I honestly think he has like all-star potential.
Yeah, definitely.
He's like you could make an argument he's the best shooter in the class. I think it's between him and Khan.
Yeah, definitely.
He's just stupid. Dude, can we talk about the ace a little bit here for a second while we're kind of thinking of things? Ace did not look very happy that he was going to Utah.
He thought he was going here.
He thought he was going to Washington. I think all people thought that he was going to Washington. I don't know. How do you feel about like when that type of stuff happens? You know, for a guy that's as like highly touted as him, it's like tough luck or whatever.
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, you don't get to choose where you go. And as much as you want to force your way, you know, most teams, I think, when a player doesn't want to go there, will be like, okay, fine. Like, we don't want somebody who's not going to want to be here. But when there's a team that's got the guts to do it, Danny Ainge, it doesn't surprise me. Danny Ainge is like, you know what? We don't care. You're going to play here anyways. I think it puts you in a weird spot without a doubt, but they can give him what many other teams couldn't give him. But, you know, the Wizards could have given the same thing, is minutes. Like what this guy needs is minutes. He needs to play NBA games. He needs to play against NBA level defense, and he's going to get it in both spots. I actually like the coaching better in Utah. And so I do think like it could potentially be just a much better landing spot for him in that capacity. I think it's funny how much he wanted to be in DC to me.
I know that's probably like the first player that has tried to force their way to the Wizards.
Yeah, for sure. Josh Robbins is supposed to join us here shortly.
Cool.
To discuss this pick of Trey Johnson. Fit check on Trey Johnson. He's going with the shorts. Did you see that?
Yes, I did. Did you see the socks plus shorts combination and the Doc Martens? It's a very Gen Z look, to be honest.
What do you think? Yeah, it is Gen Z, or it's like 1998 maybe. I don't know.
I know.
It's a little bit of both.
Fashion is cyclical. You know what I mean?
It really is. It's kind of mind-blowing. Thoughts on his dad wearing sunglasses inside?
I love it. That means he's had a couple drinks for sure. He doesn't want the that's definitely what it is. Look, the shorts are crazy.
Yeah, the shorts are crazy.
But it takes a level of swag to pull that off. You know what I mean?
That's how you know this guy's going to be an all-star, because he wore shorts. To the draft.
Yeah, when we look at this, when he makes his first all-star team and say, look at what he wore, you know?
Hey, listen, nobody else wore shorts. Cooper Flagg could have worn shorts, decided not to.
Yeah.
That's his own fault, I think. we got the Pelicans on the clock. You got thoughts on what they should do from here?
I think they are going to either. So I saw a report earlier today that Troy Weaver has ties to Derek Queen, and Troy
is back at it again. Come on, Troy.
And Troy also just traded for Sadiq Bey, who he has ties to.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
So it does seem like maybe Derek Queen is the guy here.
Wow.
I don't know, though. I'm not sure. I could see them going Jeremiah Fears. They also just traded for Jordan Poole, so I have no idea anymore.
Yeah, I don't think that you trade for Poole and take Fears. Or maybe you do because you're Troy Weaver. I don't know. But, man, I don't know. I don't know what's happening here. Yeah, the camera on Ace Bailey with him looking and maybe that's just his disposition. But
actually, so we do you want me to spoil it for you?
Yes.
Jeremiah Fears.
Seriously.
Jeremiah Fears, according to Goodman Hoops, who covers the draft. So
wow. That is really interesting. Yeah. That is really interesting. I don't know what this Pelicans team is at this point in time. I don't know what they are. I don't know.
I don't think they know what they are, man. I really don't think they know what they are either. But at the same point, are you at a point where you can't take the best player available? Fears is probably the best player available here. You know,
he is the best shot creator available, is what I would say.
Yep.
I don't know that he's the best player available. He's certainly the best shot creator available. He's a little small. He's super duper young.
Yeah.
He's got a ton of potential as like a lead guy.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm the Pelicans though, I would rather have the leadership of CJ McCollum next to this guy for a year.
Yeah.
That's just me. To kind of help him figure out who he is. I don't think that Poole is necessarily the right kind of guy to kind of usher in another player whenever he's still trying to kind of get his career back on tracks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that the way they've constructed everything is very strange.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it. And
I'm a big Trey Murphy and Herb Jones guy.
Oh yeah,
like the rest of the NBA is too.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're a person that breathes air and likes basketball. You know. So
yeah, you're not wrong, man.
Of course, you like those guys. Yeah, they've got two awesome building blocks, and then it's a question of what else. You know, and Fears, maybe he's kind of your third building block there. Zion Williamson is always kind of lurking in the background of what is he going to be? What's he going to do? I think getting a guard like Fears is probably a good move for him.
Yeah.
But he's likely going to be coming off the bench and trying to figure it out from there, which is not necessarily a terrible thing. I just hope he gets a lot of minutes for them is all.
He's going to get a lot of opportunity. I mean, him and Jordan Poole are going to get up shots. I'm really curious to see what they do with Zion, they do with Trey Murphy. If there is a team that goes out there and makes the pick, here is my prediction, and I'm probably going to start to head out here as the Nets are on the clock. But here is my prediction here. If Kaman Malawatch is still on the board,
he's back.
Raptors,
the Malawatch man.
He is. If Malawatch is still there at 9, I believe the Raptors will take Kaman Malawatch.
Okay.
They have not worked him out. They did not do a workout with him.
Really?
Yes. He did not come to Canada for a workout.
I thought,
at least from what I know. Yeah.
I thought that they've been on Malawatch for a while. Yes,
they have been. Yes, but that's because they also Ulrich Shamshay was a guy in the BAL Basketball Africa League that they drafted.
Yeah,
Kaman was also a guy that they looked at while he was in the Basketball Africa League. So they've obviously been scouting Kaman for a really long time. But I'm not sure if Kaman thought he would be here at 9. So we'll see if he is. Brooklyn is still on the board. Maybe Brooklyn decides that Malawatch is their guy. But we'll figure it out here. Do you know if Josh Robbins is going to be coming on for the Wizards side?
I have not heard from Josh, but I do know that Derek Parker is going to be joining us
Cool.
here shortly to kind of fill in for a little bit and talk some draft. But yeah, I'm very curious to see what this Pelicans team looks like.
Yeah.
There he is, Derek Parker.
What up, guy?
How we doing?
I'm good. I will be back after the Raptors make their pick.
Okay. Hey, good luck.
Godspeed.
Thank
Good
you,
luck.
guys.
We'll see you on the
Appreciate it.
other side.
We're on Malawatch Island, baby. See you guys.
We're on Malawatch watch. Derek, biggest surprise of the draft so far for you?
Oh man, maybe the Charlotte Hornets making a correct pick for the first time in a while.
Yes.
Canipple's phenomenal there. Love
Yeah.
that. Obviously, again, I told you a few days ago, one of my favorite players in this draft. It always hurts to see one of your favorite players drafted by the Charlotte Hornets, but I think it's a great fit. I think he's going to do phenomenally there. Great pick. That and Trey Johnson to the Wizards too. Trey's gonna cook up in Washington. Yeah,
he's gonna light it up. I think it's a great opportunity for him. We were just talking about how I think it's great that they kind of moved out Jordan Poole, and I think that CJ McCollum is going to be a great kind of mentor for him for a year to kind of figure things out if CJ ends up staying. I love that for them. I really like what the Wizards are building at this point.
I don't know if you could have gone from a better mentor whiplash from Jordan Poole to CJ McCollum.
Mentor whiplash is the perfect way to put it, because it is like they just pulled one over on, and now it's like Jeremiah Fears now gets to be with Jordan Poole. I don't know. I don't love it. I don't love that at all.
I was really shocked the Pelicans went with guards still, considering,
I know,
like you said, they just added Poole. Very random.
It is very odd. Thoughts on what Brooklyn should do from here?
I mean, really interesting players on the board. I think they've got their pick of what position they want to go with, whether it's guard, wing, front court. I think I would go with Kasparas Yakuchonis, probably.
Ooh, Yakuchonis is a great idea for them, because when you're this blank of a slate, you were saying in a very nice way that they don't really have any good young players. And they could use anybody to fill any position that's a young guy at this point. And so, it's a blank slate. They can feel really comfortable taking best player available and knowing that there's not really any true overlap that's going to happen with this team. So,
and the good thing about Yakuchonis too is that he may be a lead guard. I would project him to be that, but to your point, they don't have a lot of positions. He could also just be a wing, a really good connective wing that shoots it a little bit better than people think. So he'd be a great guy to kick off the rebuild with, because he's not necessarily gridlocked into a certain spot. Just a high feel, positionally versatile guy that I would like. But who knows?
Oh my gosh. Do you know who the pick is?
I don't.
They're taking Jaor.
Whoa. Oh my gosh.
Give me your Jaor reaction.
It's somewhat similar. I will say, he could be a lead guard. Some people project him to be that. I don't know that I necessarily do, but he's still 6'9". He's got some of the wing stuff. We talked about, the shot doesn't go in, but it looks like it should go in.
Yep.
So maybe he does end up a forward that's just kind of high feel. I like that they swung for the fences. I'm really glad they didn't go straight role player. I respect the gall at least.
Wow. They got Common Malawatch here for the Raptors, and I think that S is going to be so sad if they don't take him.
Really? I think it's got to either be Malawatch or Asenge. I can't see any other options, just given that front office's history.
Yeah, those guys are very on brand. Very on brand for the Raptors. Man, I'm a little floored by this pick. I think is this the most off the board pick so far?
I think so. There were reports, and I guess in hindsight we should have known, because there were reports that Demon has someone that loves him in the top 8. They kept saying top 8, so I guess we should have known that was the cutoff, was Brooklyn. But
someone that loves him at 8.
I don't know that I ever believed it. I was like, we'll see.
Yeah, we have Josh Robbins here. There's my good friend Josh Robbins. What's up, buddy?
Here I am. I just hope to the good Lord that you're not going to ask me trivia questions. So
no trivia today. No trivia today. We were just talking about how we really like the fact that Trey Johnson is going to have a lot of opportunity in Washington. And we like the mentorship of a guy like CJ McCollum if they do indeed keep him. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first, if they keep who? First of all, there's no draft rights trade in the works for Trey Johnson. CJ McCollum, I don't think that there's any plans to flip him anytime soon. But yes, he would be a great vet to have around. And right now, Chris Middleton's also on the roster. So that would be at least two very good vets who've played on the wing. And also Kelly Olynyk is coming in. He's considered a good vet. So they're in good shape there. I'm not listing Marcus Smart because chances are that he will be traded before the start of the season. But that's yet to be determined. If he remains, it'd be good to have him around too.
Yeah. Just overall thoughts on the pick.
He instantly becomes at least their second best shooter.
Yeah.
With the only person possibly better, Corey Kispert.
Yeah.
But in terms of their long-term timeline, Trey Johnson is their best shooter. And so he complements a lot of the other guys on the roster because it's not a good three-point shooting team, and he instantly should upgrade that, or at least once he gets used to the NBA line.
Yeah, I think he's going to be super fun. Derek, you have any questions for Josh about this pick?
Would you anticipate them to roll him out at the 2 guard? I think he's got a little bit of like upside as a point guard. I know they're high on Bub, obviously. Would you expect that to be, I guess, the backcourt moving forward?
No, I think that he would play on the wing. And who knows, maybe they would experiment with him at the 1 at times. Where do they have to lose?
But just a ton of games, right, Josh?
Correct. So, why not experiment? But I envision him right now as a wing, but we haven't spoken to the general manager yet, so we don't know what their plan is. Yeah.
I got one more question for you, Josh, before we go. Just thoughts on what they could do at 18. What else do the Wizards need? What do you anticipate them doing later on in this draft?
Well, they're going to go for the best long-term prospect. They're not really all that wrapped up in terms of fit.
Yeah.
As long as it's an intangibles fit, that has to fit for them. So they will select the person who they think is the best long-term prospect.
Go read Josh Robbins. Go ahead.
I haven't
Sorry.
given you a name. I don't mean to cop out there, but
do you have any favorite prospects later yourself?
At 18, no.
Okay.
I don't. I know that a lot of Washingtonians would want me to mention Sorber, who I don't think would be on the board at that time.
Okay. Yeah.
Or they would want Derek Queen from the University of Maryland.
Sure.
I don't think Derek Queen has the two-way game that they would like.
Yeah.
So I don't think that that's in the offing, but watch them prove me wrong.
Okay. I guess we'll find out soon. Go read Josh Robbins at The Athletic. Josh, thanks so much for coming on.
Hey, bless you. I don't know where you are, Andrew, but it looks like a really nice venue.
It's a great space. I'm at the Jones Assembly in downtown Oklahoma City. We're hosting a Down to Dunk party here on the other side of this wall. And so when I'm done with the live stream, I'll go join all the Down to Dunkers over there. But
I love Down to Dunk. My favorite basketball podcast. And,
wow.
Tell all my peeps I miss them.
I'll tell him. Alex Spears is here. I'll tell him that you said hi.
Please do. He had a birthday a few weeks back.
That's right.
See you later.
That's right.
Bye.
See you, buddy. Okay, we got the Raptors on the clock here. We mentioned Malawatch as a guy that seems pretty obvious. He was somebody that has been linked to the Raptors for a very long time.
Yep.
And so he hasn't. S was just telling us that he hasn't actually worked out for the Raptors yet.
Really?
I guess I say yet. He's a guy who hasn't worked out and won't work out for them pre-draft. But just you said who else did you say? Essengay would be like the only other one that you think that is on the board that makes sense for them?
Yeah, I mean that front office just loves length and like just huge bodies, guys that they can kind of project to get better throughout the course of their career. So I would think those are the two.
Yeah,
those are the two like probably toolsiest prospects in the lottery range right now. So I would bet it's one of those.
Yeah, that to me makes a lot of sense. That to me makes a lot of sense.
And there's a chance they really just like Asenge more. Now, I don't know that they were anticipating Malawatch to be there. Maybe that's why there was no workout. That would certainly make sense. I mean, they've got kind of like a roster that's between rebuilding and win now. Like they've got a lot of win now pieces, but they've also got some young guys. So I think Malawatch would make a lot of sense as a 5 that you could just plug in next year. Even if he's not like a great basketball player, he's 7'2". So like he's gonna do something out there. So I think that would certainly make sense.
What a terrifying sentence that you just said. I don't know that he's necessarily a great basketball player. Like those are the kinds of things that terrify me. It's just like they've got all the tools. I mean, the guy, it wasn't that long ago that somebody was telling Common Malawatch in his hometown that like, hey, you're tall. You should play basketball.
Should do. Yeah.
You've heard of this sport called basketball? And he would have to walk 40 minutes to get to the closest basketball hoop. Not the easiest path to get to the NBA. And it would be really kind of cool to see him in with the Raptors here.
In terms of stories, there's like, he's probably the best story in the class. Just all the things you just said, like very new to basketball, but like what a cool guy to root for.
Yeah. Yeah, no question. I do think that he is one of like the best stories, and he's one of the guys that you just hope has a ton of success in the NBA, because I think it forges a path to the NBA for a lot of people that don't have a ton of hope in this world. And so I do think like that'd be really cool. He's obviously still going to go probably in the lottery if he's not selected by the Raptors, but
I think I just saw who.
Did you see who? Who is it? You got to
Colin Murray Boyles.
That's also a Raptors-y player. Oh, Common is falling. Let me
confirm. Let me make sure. I think I think it's Colin Murray Boyles.
That one disappointing for us Thunder people, because I do like CMB for OKC. But man, that is a Raptors-y pick. I don't love adding somebody that doesn't shoot it for the Raptors. That kind of scares me a bit.
Yeah.
Because he's how many forwards do they need that can like handle, pass, and not shoot?
I mean, they've got them all. They're acquiring them like the Stones in the Avengers. They've got the gauntlet of all forwards that have no 3-ball whatsoever. I told you on your draft pod on Down to Dunk.
Yeah.
There's going to be teams that like have him 5th on their board because of some metric that they have in-house, and there's going to be teams that have him 30th. Apparently, he ranks very highly on the Raptors. It looks like.
Wow. I mean, I love him as a player in just a vacuum, but again, the Raptors selecting him, they're going to have to figure out what to do with their roster at some point, because like this is not it. I don't love him with Scotty even.
Masai is like the guy that he keeps like swapping girlfriends, but they're all just like clones of each other, and you just keep bringing them home, and your friends are like, "What are you doing?" It's like, this is the same girl every time.
It's the same girl, man. Fit check on Colin Murray Boyles. Thoughts on his fit?
Good stuff. I think my favorite so far has been Carter Bryant. I don't know if you've seen the deep D there, but
no, I haven't.
It's very solid.
I haven't seen Carter Bryant yet. Yeah, it's classic. I think CMB's hair looks good. I like the chain. I like the chain look. We've seen that a couple times here. Classic fit. Looks great.
What's S going through right now? I don't remember where he stood on CMB.
I think he likes him for sure, but I think that he wanted Malawatch. I think that's the direction that he wanted to go in. But this honestly, I feel confused about the direction of the Raptors and where they're going from here, because they just have they have too many of these like 6'9" forwards.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how. I just would worry a little bit about the development overall for CMB, and if he's going to be able to get enough minutes for them and have enough of a runway to get there. They're going to have to thin out the roster a little bit, in my opinion, because this is the kind of guy I feel like should soak up a lot of minutes for an NBA team, especially one that's not very good, and the path is not as wide open as you want it to be.
Right. He's definitely going to play a significant role in year one, I would bet. This is not like a long-term developmental pick. Not that he can't get a lot better throughout his career, but I would be shocked if they don't roll him out in like a pretty major capacity in year one. And honestly, we should have seen this coming with the Mogbo pick last year. I think it was the first pick of the second round. Like, kind of similar, like short forward, but doesn't shoot the ball. That does absolutely everything else at a high level. Like, they just have a type, man. The Raptors just have a type.
They do have a type. He's a 6'8" forward, crazy defensive skills, good passer on the offensive end, really good rebounder as well. It's going to be interesting to see how he scores the ball on this team. What else interests you about his game overall?
I think the passing is the biggest thing. Like, he's a guy who, when the ball is in his hands, he genuinely can make pretty much every read, which you just don't see out of these like big wing, like forward type players. Like, he's got the hub stuff that you can do out of like dribble handoffs. Obviously, he's got like a wide body. He's got broad shoulders, one of the strongest players in this class. But then he also has like face up passing where he can like legitimately make high level processed reads that like even some guards can't even do some of the time. So just a highly functional player. Again, outside of the shooting, he does everything well. I told you, I don't know that I see him shooting the ball at a high rate ever, which that's why maybe the Raptors think they can turn him into a shooter. That's about all it takes to like sell yourself on CMB is like, can we make him shoot the ball? If you think you can, then like take him ninth. Sure. But I don't know that I ever see him shooting the ball at a high clip.
Yeah, it's a tricky fit. There's no question. And again, like if I'm the Raptors, I feel a little bit silly with some of the trades that they've made over the past like year plus, because you've ended up with this roster that is full of this size forward that I just don't know. Like, you have they traded for Brandon Ingram. They have RJ Barrett. They have Scotty Barnes, obviously, that's going to play at this position. And now you have CMB. And I just don't know how that works. I mean, they basically, we're talking about like real shooters. I mean, I guess Emmanuel Quickley is a good shooter. Grady Dick is a good shooter. It might that might be the end of my list of guys that shoot the rock for this squad. So it's a little bit strange to see them making the selection. And then like, you're going to want to figure out like, I mean, you're putting Brandon Ingram in a really bad spot. Like, hey, no spacing for Brandon Ingram, who's a guy who just likes to cook one-on-one offensively. I don't know that I agree with this path for them. I like a lot of these players in a vacuum, but you have your non-shooting center in Jakob Poeltl. I just don't get it. I just don't quite get the vision here for the Toronto Raptors, a team that is still in quasi-developmental mode, but still making win-now moves. I don't get it.
And had you told me that they had drafted CMB like before the draft, I would have assumed a few guys had went ahead of him that are still on the board right now. Like 100%, I would have thought Asingé was gone, Malawatch was gone. Even they're showing it now. Asa Newell, I would have expected probably before CMB at this point. So just a wild pick. Like you said, they've got 4 guys that play the same position that are all like pretty solid. Not necessarily guys you want to like kick out of town. So
no, I mean, all very good NBA players that are all going to have long, productive, lucrative NBA careers. So the pick is in for the Phoenix Suns via the Houston Rockets at 10. Who would you go with if you're Phoenix here?
I'm going to keep shouting him out until someone takes him. Yakachonis to me is just the best player available left.
Okay.
I understand a swing on Malawatch here.
Yeah,
that makes sense. They
need a big. They need a big badly, and if
one of the worst
Malawatch,
interior front courts in the league, like bar none. So and he's a guy who could play pretty immediately. Like, while they do have kind of a blank slate roster moving forward, they probably blow it up. Like, he's at least a guy who could play next to Bradley Beal, people like that. So that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't mind that idea. But yeah, it's going to be fascinating. I think this is one of many moves that the Phoenix Suns are going to have to make this summer to kind of remake what their roster looks like.
Here's some news. Per Shams, Charlotte Hornets are trading Mark Williams to the Phoenix Suns for number 29 tonight and a 29 first-round pick. So that, I guess, shores up Phoenix's front court there.
Well, they answered the front court question there. They're just trading for all the Charlotte centers. They traded for Nick Richards not that long ago. That's bizarre. That's very bizarre.
The Charlotte Hornets are the Phoenix Suns feeder team.
Their feeder team for the bigs. It's like, hey, we're just waiting for the Hornets to just develop these guys so we can bring them in to play with Devin Booker. Poor Devin Booker. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, now that we know they have a big, you're going Yakachonis.
I think I would have to. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that makes some sense. They need some size on the wing.
Or maybe you also go Derek Queen and you just fill out the front court immediately. I mean, that's your like long-term 4 and 5 probably.
Yeah. Very interesting. They took Malawatch anyways. What is happening? Like,
whoa, what?
Could we the fact that the news dropped
30 seconds.
30-second timeout, please, because the fact that they just traded for Mark Williams and then draft Kama Malawatch, who's a guy that's going to need minutes.
My brain hurts.
What?
I can't tell if they're working at like light speed right now or if they're cooking with sunscreen. I have no idea what's going on.
I think cooking with sunscreen. I think in Phoenix, there's always a lot of sunscreen around. Malawatch is crying a lot. Like this is you never want to say you know what's going on in these guys' heads, but the journey that he's been through and to be now selected in the NBA is so cool. And like we can take out like the weird things that are happening with Phoenix right now, but the fact that this guy was in a horrific like poverty situation and is now a multimillionaire playing basketball in the NBA is a true, like this is like it's like a Disney movie, like in a lot of ways should be a Disney movie, in that like you rewind to this guy just a few years ago and he had nothing and not even a true opportunity to even play basketball, and now he's here on the stage in Barclays Center. It is truly a very cool story, and like the tears you see on his face it's very cool. It's a very human moment that I think that a lot of people should look to for some motivation, because like this guy has done some really cool things to this point in his life, and is now an NBA player for the Phoenix Suns. So shout out to Kama Malawatch for this. Is very, very cool.
Yeah, 100%. And to add to that, I mean, we've talked about how he's maybe not the best basketball player right now. There's a reason for that. Like he got a late start and he has made significant progress too in just like the short time that he's had with the ball in his hands. So, I mean, he anchored a Final Four team in college basketball. Like it's not like he's just this like ultimate project. Like he is a good basketball player. He deserves to be a top 10 pick. And I think he'll be able to add quite a bit in year one. And then obviously for the future too.
Yeah. And to Phoenix's credit, if I'm going to look on the bright side of this, they're not going to put him in a position where he needs to play 30 minutes a game.
Right.
And they're going to let him kind of come along, a little bit slower and figure it out. You just wonder what it looks like. It's not like Mark Williams is some old center though. Like he's a guy like to invest in and to bring in as your starting center if you like him. But now Mark Williams is now probably just as confused as we are in some ways, that like, oh great, a team like really wants me. Well, do they? Because they just drafted a guy who could be their starting center of the future. So it is a tricky situation there in Phoenix, and it already had been. But you know what? Let's add one more wrinkle in there for him to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, we talked like literally 3 minutes ago about how Malawatch would be a good pick for the Suns. So I guess like it happening in succession didn't make sense. But if you told me a week ago, like, would you not draft Malawatch because you have Mark Williams? I probably wouldn't have taken that into account too much either. So
right,
I don't know. I mean, there's levels. I'm sure there'll be more information released on it that maybe makes it make a little bit more sense. But in the least, Suns fans can be excited that they got a good young prospect finally.
Yeah, just pretty bizarre there. The Portland Trailblazers at 11. They have a lot of interesting guys left on the board, If they want to swing for the fences, they could go Noah Essengay, who's a 6'9", kind of mystery box. They could go with Derek Queen, who's still on the board, who is just like a offensive mastermind of a center from Maryland. They could go with Yakachonis, your guy, 6'6", kind of do-it-all wing prospect that can shoot it and pass and dribble, and but needs some really good coaching, I would say, would be a nice way to say it. Okay.
Hershams.
Who do we got? Yeah, tell me.
Cedric Coward at number 11, which does make a ton of sense.
Oh, they're trading it.
Ooh.
The Portland Trailblazers are trading Cedric Coward at 11 to the Memphis Grizzlies.
Also makes sense. Yeah, Coward is a guy I've had pegged for the Grizzlies for a while now. I didn't know if he would be there. Obviously, it makes sense now that they trade up and get their guy.
Okay, tell me about Cedric Coward.
Yeah, 6'6" wing, came back with a 7'2" wingspan in the pre-draft results, which kind of caused his stock to bloom. He's unique in that he is kind of a prospecty, like developmental wing, but he comes with shooting built in, which, as we've seen, Memphis has valued over the last few years. And then he's got defensive versatility in terms of he'll be able to play multiple positions. I think he does need to get quite a bit better at defense, but that should happen. I mean, we only saw him 6 games this year for Washington State, suffered a season-ending labrum injury, but I mean, good prospect. Like the pre-draft hype was warranted. Obviously, he's drafted just outside the top 10, so he was a player I liked for both of those teams. I'm somewhat shocked that Portland did go back.
Yeah, I am too. I love that pick. I think that he's one of those guys. He's obviously risen through the draft process, but I love that for Memphis. They're a team that kind of needs to restock after they've made the trade to trade away Desmond Bane, and so getting a guy like Cedric Coward in, I think that he projects as a guy that could be a starter in the NBA. And so I like that from Memphis quite a bit. Have we gotten details on what they're trading?
I have not seen any yet. I would imagine they obviously go back to that spot and then maybe just add a little bit of win now assets.
Yeah, you would think that it's just additional draft compensation to get there, and possibly some of the draft compensation they just received in the Desmond Bane trade. But I like that a lot. I would have liked Cedric Coward to the Blazers. I actually don't know that there's a bad spot for him. And so, but I do think Memphis needs more wings. Certainly, we saw them in need of that in the first round against the Thunder. And so I like it. Is there a comp for him that you like?
I'm not a big comp guy. I'm bad. I was a very fresh NBA fan a few years ago, so I don't have the context.
Okay.
I mean, people say J-Dub. I don't have a comp, but I will say I don't like the J-Dub comp, as I told you. I think he's not near as good of a creator and on-ball player, but he does offer the same size, hopeful defensive versatility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a great spot for him. I will say, go ahead.
He's not Kawhi Leonard, but
yeah,
someone posted a side-by-side of his shooting form and Kawhi Leonard's shooting form today on Twitter, and it is uncanny how similar it is. So that's something.
Okay. Kenny Moore in the chat says that he's Moses Moody. So, S. How are you feeling? Raptors pick. Colin Murray Boyles.
I'm already selling myself on short roll Colin Murray Boyles. DHO keep Colin Murray Boyles.
Wow.
I'm locked in.
Eric Green. Okay, let's talk about Colin Murray Boyles a little bit. We've got 2 Raptors guys here. Eric, thoughts, feelings? I don't think he can hear us. Hey, can you hear us? I don't think Eric can hear us.
I can hear you slightly. Let me see if this improves things if I walk outside of the Raptors practice facility.
Okay. S, give us the quick scout on your guy, CMB, and how he fits with the Raptors.
Guys, sorry, this isn't going to work. It's just going to... Oh, now I see you at least. Let's go.
Okay. Can you hear us now? Yes?
Yeah,
no?
This is good. We've done it.
Okay, perfect. Thoughts on the Raptors selecting a guy that is very Raptors-y?
I'm sure S had some opinions. Look, I don't know how it's going to work offensively. Dan Tolzman, the assistant GM, said on Monday that you don't pick a rookie for now, especially a bigger. Murray Boyles is as much a 4 as a 5, but you don't pick those guys for right now, and you wait and you develop them, and then you see what happens. And if you're planning to have a rookie fill a lot of rotation minutes, then you might not be very good. And the Raptors are hoping to make a step next year. He is a very Raptorsy guy, as you say. One of the best defenders in the class, maybe the best defender. Certainly, his intelligence defensively is off the charts. He'll be able to guard a few positions. The question will be how it works on offense. And if you could figure that out, you know a bit more than I do.
Yeah, I look, very Raptorsy guy. That is obvious, but I love the defensive fit for a team that is trying to hang its hat on the defensive end, especially towards the end of last season, where they turned into a top 10-ish defense with Scotty Barnes and Jakob Poeltl, and just a defensive intensity that they had at the point of attack. I think Murray Boyles fits into what they want to do defensively perfectly. The offensive side of the ball, I think it will actually surprise folks. I think the ability to make plays, to be a passer, to work in the high post area, the feel for the game overall, that fits with what the Raptors want from that position. And it's pretty clear that, to me, they're betting on him developing offensively as a scorer, as a guy who can drive, and eventually shoot. That's obviously something that everybody talks about, but we'll see. We'll see if that part goes in. Yeah.
They've done that before. They did it with Pascal Siakam. They did it with OG Anunoby. Not necessarily, exactly the same as Murray Boyles, but those were non-shooters essentially, especially Siakam coming to the Raptors. The Raptors believe they can. That's a skill that they could really help guys improve in-house. It's worked sometimes. It hasn't worked other times. But they're going to be happy to know that the baseline is a very high-level processor of the game and defender. I think that stuff is increasingly important to them as they build the team.
Are they going to thin this roster out, Eric? Like, do you think there's a need to trade some of these forwards to make way for CMB?
They're very close to the tax, so they might have to find a way for some savings. There are ways to do that isn't taking away from the core. RJ Barrett's name has been in trade rumors all for a lot of the summer, and I wouldn't be surprised if he goes. But that doesn't necessarily answer all your questions. I don't think they're going to be super concerned about funneling playing time to Murray Boyles. If he earns it out of camp, great. If he doesn't, they're happy to let him develop with Raptors 905. That's not the type of thing they would be too stressed about at this point. But they are awfully if we're talking about the positional spectrum, they are very meaty in the middle, and then they, don't have a ton at guard or with true centers. It's Jakob Poeltl and then, a project in Ulrich Chauncey.
They should make shirts for opening night that says "meaty in the middle," for the Raptors. I like that idea.
It would agree with my my body type, but we don't need to get too far into that.
S, you have anything else for Eric? I'd love for you guys to be able to chat for just like maybe one or two more questions. You're muted somehow, S.
I was about to say I'm gonna see Eric tomorrow, likely.
Yeah.
Unless are you locked into the second round like I am, Eric? Or
I wouldn't say I'm locked in. I might have to rely on your knowledge, but I do plan on being there. Yeah.
I wish I could say I was wildly knowledgeable about the second round of the draft. That's probably more of a Derek Parker question, but I agree with the whole trade aspect of things and what you mentioned. I guess do you see this maybe being a bet against Jonathan Mobo because they're similar-ish players?
We're getting deep now.
We are. We're in the
you guys
NBA
have
draft.
been live. Yeah, you guys have been live streaming. I can see for 34 minutes. So if you're asking if they're betting against the 31st pick of the 2024 draft, look,
we've crossed the Mobo line here. I think.
I'm a big Mobo.
Yeah, that is a
believer,
line.
So I'm just asking the question. Yeah.
No, I mean that late season triple double. The only rookie to record a triple double, Jonathan Mobo, I believe, or at least he was when he recorded that near the end of the season. I don't know if it's a bet against him. I think the Raptors are showing what they value, and they know that not every guy is going to develop in a perfect world. And if they can, if they can pile guys like that and have one or two really hit, then they'll figure out what to do. And, for all of Jonathan Mobo, it's not like, I think he hit his 3K log as expected, which was slowly. I'm sure we'll go into camp and they'll be talking about Colin Murray-Boyles having to take those open threes, and it will come along slowly. But if you get one of those sort of, guys who can defend 3, 4, and 5, and play make and really see the floor, and then suddenly one of them can shoot a 3 and hit it league average number of times, now you are cooking with gas. So I wouldn't read too much into the Jonathan Mobo of it all.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I just as a diehard Mobo believer, I'm worried about my stock on Mobo Island, but it'll be
It's amazing. It's amazing. Eric, thanks so much for coming on. Go read Eric at The Athletic. We appreciate your time, man.
Have fun, guys. Thanks.
Derek Parker, you're still here with us. If you would like, you're welcome to go. You're welcome to hang out. We'd love to have you, but if you've got other things to do, it's up to you.
I do need to bounce. We're taking on water right now with all these trades and things.
Thing.
So I'm going to go help out Nick Crane. If you'll have me, I can maybe hop back on here in a little bit. When are y'all hopping off here?
We're going to be done at the lottery. So maybe we can have you on again to kind of dissect some stuff with us later on. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Thank you,
guys.
Derek. See you, buddy.
Okay, so I have to catch everybody up on the stream because there's been some stuff that's gone down here. So
there's been some stuff. Catch us up here.
Yeah, so the Portland Trailblazers are trading Cedric Coward.
We did discuss that. Discuss that.
That's done.
So,
and you guys talked about the trade, 16th pick, 2028. Okay.
Yep.
The Atlanta Hawks are trading the 13th pick to the New Orleans Pelicans. Get this, for the number 23 pick and an unprotected first-round pick from Milwaukee next year. Most favorable between the Pelicans and the Bucks. That is a crazy pick to pay.
Wow, I don't know what to think about that. And they're taking Derek Queen.
Yeah, and they're taking Derek Queen. They must be big Queen believers there. The Bulls are also taking Noah Senge. That's the other.
Yeah, I don't like that for Chicago at all. That scares me a little bit. Like they're taking on another forward project. What else is new in Chicago?
Yeah, I thought they would take Queen because they desperately need a center. So I'm surprised that they didn't take Queen.
I know. I'm a little surprised too. I think that it allows you to take the first exit ramp on Vooch and bring in Derek Queen, but they're taking Noah Essengay. Tell us a little bit about Noah Essengay for those who don't know anything about him.
Dude, honestly, I think he's as much of a mystery box for everybody else as he is for me. It's been pretty tough for me to watch some of his games at Ratio Farm. Derek Parker actually did a pretty good breakdown of Essengay, and that's where I got a lot of my information from. He is a very talented transition player. Long arms, makes him a good athlete defensively.
6'9". He's super duper young. He's only I think he might be one of the youngest guys in the class.
He is one of the youngest guys. Yes, absolutely. He's one of the youngest guys.
He and Coop are the same age, I think.
Right. So he's super young. You hope that you can kind of like mold him to be who he can be. By the way, oh my God, I need to talk to you about the Nets pick because that's crazy to me that they took
Jaor.
That's nuts. I think that's insane. I would not have had. Look, again, I'm not going to go out and say that I am the greatest draft man in the world, but I am shocked that Jaor Demon went in the top 10. I know he had a pretty interesting season in BYU. The first basically 5-6 games, you're looking at him and saying maybe he could be a top 5 pick, but I thought he struggled against the physicality. I'm curious to see what Derek Parker thought of that. I bet he was pretty high on Jaor Demon, by the way.
He likes Demon, but he was surprised by that too. I think he thought, Yakachonis and Demon aren't like too dissimilar, and that they're kind of these like guard wing prospects, and they can, you don't know exactly where their careers are going to go and like what position they'll play. Yakachonis at least can shoot it, in my opinion. Demon, he's like Josh Giddey if Josh Giddey doesn't score. He's kind of like the way that he's been described to me.
27% from 3.
It's not ideal. It's not ideal.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not necessarily in love with that pick for Brooklyn, but they do have a lot of kicks at the can here. You know what I mean? They have a lot of opportunities.
They do. There's a lot going on. Yeah, a lot of movement here. Here in the late lottery, which is pretty fun. Zach Vobernick in the chat. Great question. So they get Queen, Fears, and Poole, and they traded away their first-round pick next year. What is going on in New Orleans? It's a great question.
So I just want to get the clarity on that. They really traded their first-round pick next year. I don't understand that. Like, are they? Because in the West, you know, we obviously are locked in. In the West, are the Pelicans close to the play-in?
No, not at all.
My God, I don't understand that whatsoever. Is this a bet against Milwaukee?
I think perhaps it's a bet against Milwaukee. They've gone all offense here in the draft.
Yeah,
with Queen and Fears. These are they're probably like the 2 highest upside picks as far as like guys that can get their own buckets at these spots.
Let me see what else they have pick wise.
So I don't necessarily mind that. But man,
that's the only pick they have in 2026. So it's not like it's a backup. That I don't understand. They must love Derek Queen.
Which I'm not the biggest Derek Queen guy. If you don't know much about Derek Queen, he's a 6'10" center, played for Maryland. He is a true bucket getter, a really good rebounder, a pretty good passer as well. He will get the counting stats on defense, but in my opinion, the guy's got no breaks whatsoever. He's going to play drop pretty much exclusively. He scares me in any other type of defense. And he's not even that great at drop, in my opinion. So I don't necessarily love that. This is a hilarious detail from a friend of the show, Jake Fisher. He said that Vasilije Micic is heading back to Charlotte in the Mark Williams trade. So
wonderful.
The Suns and Hornets have passed Vasilije Micic back and forth, which I think it's a signal that, like, you know what, might rather be back in Europe, okay, than being passed back and forth by Phoenix and Charlotte. Don't love that. Don't love that one bit.
I am so profoundly confused by what the Pelicans are doing now. Sam Vecini also just tweeted out, I think it's time for the NBA to take over the New Orleans Pelicans franchise.
They just hired a new GM. They just did. They just fired a guy and hired a guy. And you know what? This is...
Oh, my God.
This is what we need.
I hate that this happened. I hate it. The San Antonio Spurs are selecting Carter Bryant.
Yeah.
I think that is perfect for them, and I hate that it's perfect for them.
Yeah, I kind of if I'm like the Bulls, and maybe this will look stupid at some point, but if I'm the Bulls, like, hey, why don't you select a wing that I think will actually be good? How about that?
Yeah.
SNG may be really good, but that he's a very low floor prospect.
Wild upside pick. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, wild upside, very low floor. I think Carter Bryant. I mean, he came off the bench. He's a little bit of an older freshman. He's not that far out from being 20 years old. The production wasn't crazy at Arizona, but like the tools are there to be like a 3-and-D guy. Vicini compared him to a guy like Marvin Williams. You know, he's a 6'8" forward that can kind of do a little bit of everything defensively, offensively kind of limited at this point.
Yeah.
But if the shooting works, then this is just a very helpful, productive forward that a lot of teams would want. So yeah, I like the Carter Bryant move for them. Yeah.
I'm jealous of the Carter Bryant move, honestly. Because I think he is he's an insane defender. Yeah. Like he does so many good things. And by the way, OKC is now officially on the clock, so I'm very excited to see what you think the Thunder will do here at 15. A lot of options still.
A lot of options here for OKC. We'll stay on through the OKC pick, and then we will end the stream after the Thunder pick at 15. I want to thank everybody for joining us. This has been very fun. Yeah. Love hanging out with us. Love hanging out with you guys. Shout out to everybody who's with us. I mean, I think as far as the Thunder go, I mean, Thomas Sorber is a guy that's been linked to OKC. Nick Clifford is an interesting guy.
You know how much I like Sorber for you guys. Yeah.
As a wing, yep. We talked about Sorber, you and I. Barron, I think, is interesting too. Another super young player that plays the center position. Will Riley out of Illinois, an interesting, like pretty tall wing that I think is a guy that could play for OKC. Danny Wolf, another big man. Liam McNeely, who I think is probably a little early for McNeely, but he's another guy that I think can, I think he didn't shoot the ball well at Connecticut, but I think the guy can shoot the rock. Yeah. I think that there's a lot of interesting options here. And we also know that we probably won't know the pick until we actually get to Adam Silver.
You guys are the exact same as us. The exact same as us.
Are you sad about the Malawatch thing?
No, I'm not. I don't think that Malawatch would have been my pick. We were just doing this on the Raptors Republic stream, but we kind of listed like our top 3 guys in the moment. Yeah. And none of us mentioned Malawatch. Our list was Derek Queen, Colin Murray Boyles, Carter Bryant.
God, look at the Carter Bryant fit.
It's a great fit. It is a great fit.
Oh my gosh.
I like the fit.
That's the fit of the night right there. It's
the V-neck.
Is it a V-neck or is he just not wearing a shirt?
He's not wearing a shirt, but it looks like a V-neck. It's like V-cut. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it, man.
That's again, like the shorts that we saw earlier on our guy Trey Johnson. I think that this is a really good sign for the Spurs that this is a fit that will take you to the promised land.
Andrew, I'm not kidding when I say this is the pick that I'm most jealous about, because I just think he's so perfectly aligned with what the Spurs want to do. He is him and Dylan Harper. Like, I think that's perfect. Perfect for what the Spurs want to do. Carter Bryant, elite defender, especially at the point of attack. He can play 3. He can guard 3s and 4s. I'm very excited to see how his shooting translates, because I think he is a pretty good shooter that will like spread the floor. The Spurs needed shooting. He makes so much sense for them. I hate it. And I don't even say it as a way I hate it because the Spurs. I hate it because I wanted the Raptors to take Carter Bryant. But
yeah,
it is what it is. It is what it is.
Wow.
That is an incredible fit for Carter Bryant, actually. Yeah, now that I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
He isn't wearing a shirt. You're right. He's not wearing a shirt.
It's a great sign.
Yeah.
It's a great sign for his career.
Mm-hmm.
Who should OKC take?
Sorber is my guy. I'm leaning in. Thomas Sorber is the guy that OKC should take. He got injured, and so I'm always worried about bigs with foot injuries. You guys have had your fair share of bigs with injuries.
It's worked out okay. It's worked out okay.
It's worked out okay. You guys actually have had your fair share of rookies with injuries, you know?
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, this is their specialty is finding guys that are hurt. I don't mind Sorber. I told you yesterday it's a little boring. It's a little boring to bring in like what would be your fourth center on the roster. But there is utility in a guy like Thomas Sorber for the future of the Thunder. I would just like to see them take a big wing, and if we're talking about big wings that are left, I would love for them to take Yakachonis. Yeah. I mean, he is probably the most fun outcome here, in that he is like a high upside big guard that just has more guile than just about anybody left in this draft. I really like him. I like the idea of a Will Riley. I don't mind that. I love again, a lot of guile and Danny Wolf as a big man that can shoot it and kind of do everything. I'm really intrigued to see what Sam Presti does here, because I have no clue what direction they're going to go here. It would feel chalk to go with Thomas Sorber at this point, I think. It would kind of just show you that, like, yeah, maybe they do need that replacement eventually for Isaiah Hartenstein. You don't have to find it now. I'll tell you that. Like, that's not something you have to find now. And also could Jay Will be that replacement in general? Like, Jay Will is not old. Like, he's still young and a guy that's getting better and better, and a guy that I think deserves to have more minutes. And by the time that, they may have to part ways with Hartenstein, maybe Jay Will is ready to take the backup center. And also Chet Holmgren is going to get bigger and stronger over the next couple of years, and will be able to, take on different kinds of assignments. So I think that what's on the roster now, it's certainly possible that they don't really need that replacement down the road. So you could talk yourself into just about anything here. I mean, the Thunder just won the NBA championship, and they get to pick at 15, which is not a normal thing to do.
And 24.
And 24. And so it really allows you a lot of room to kind of play around and to take, literally, they need to take who they think is the best player available. They don't need to take a particular position. They need to take the best player available. And I think that's what they will do. I think that they will I don't think they shy away from high upside. I don't think they shy away from doing something that they really believe in.
Well,
so
the
here
pick
we go.
is in.
You are so far ahead of me. How are you? Whatever this stream is here, shout out to the Jones Assembly, but it is like I'm over a minute behind you.
I have to credit Jeff Goodman Hoops, who has been churning out these picks faster than anybody.
Did Goodman get it?
Goodman has gotten every pick tonight faster than anybody.
Wow.
It's actually incredible.
Wow.
But still, do you want me to spoil it for you, or do you want me to? Well, people are already spoiling it in the comments.
It's gonna be the boring pick, isn't it? It's not boring, but it's like a pick that has utility, I think, for the Thunder and Thomas Sorber. Yeah, I mean, Thomas Sorber, for those that don't know, 6'10" center out of Georgetown, can do a little bit of everything. And when we talk about that, I think offensively, defensively, this is a guy that can do a lot for any team. And so I think that he can score a decent amount. What do you think of him as a guy is he just around the basket? Is this guy that can ever shoot it? What are your thoughts on that?
He has an interesting mid-range game. Like, he can shoot the mid-range shot a little bit, which is a decent indicator that eventually he might be able to stretch the floor, just like as an off-the-catch guy. So you know how Hartenstein is used as a passing hub, as a guy who can, like, above the break, make plays for you, find cutters, etc.
Yeah,
I think Sorber can do that exactly. And he's a very, very versatile defender. The hands and the activity from Sorber is what will pop out day one for OKC he is long. He's very, very long. He's like 6'9", 6'10", but he has a 7'5", I believe.
It checks out.
The way that he is able to, I comped him so he has a little bit of slow feet. That's the only issue here. Sorber has slow feet, which is going to be, the defensive versatility might not be there from day one, but I liken him to Roy Hibbert with more offensive juice.
Yeah.
I think it's like, imagine Roy Hibbert and Isaiah Hartenstein fused together That's who I would probably say.
That's a starting level center is what that is.
I think he can be a starting level center, to be honest with you.
Yeah. That's a good player, and it doesn't necessarily signal that Hartenstein is not long for the Thunder, but it just gives it, what it does is it gives them options to kind of move through this next era and not be afraid of losing Hartenstein down the road and be able to develop this guy. He'll probably play some with the blue just to get some burn, but he doesn't seem like a guy that's gonna need a lot of burn with the blue. He seems like a guy who, plays the game at a really good level as far as like he just seems to have great basketball IQ. And so for Thomas Sorber, what a moment for him to be able to go to this organization and to play for a team that just won the NBA championship and to potentially be a part of a championship level team for the next several years of his career. So shout out to Sorber. What an incredible moment for him and his family. Yeah. Also, shout out to the fit that is just sparkling.
Bedazzled.
How do we feel about the fit? I am loving it. He's got the big TS chain.
Nice.
I'm. You know what? This is good. This is a good sign for OKC.
I like this. I think Sorber's a really good big. Like I think he's awesome. He was another guy that I think the Raptors probably should have considered at 9. But I just love like everything he brings to the game as a defender, even though he does have the slow feet, like the way that he uses his hands is sick. Also probably a very high character guy if he's going to OKC.
If he's going to OKC, you better believe this is a guy that's got high character, because especially when you're the Thunder and you have your pick of the litter here at 15, like you're going to pick a guy that not is only good at basketball, but has high character. So I like the pick. I think that it is a really interesting one for OKC, who just kind of continues to add to their stockpile here and is finding ways to continue to maneuver their roster as they're about to get really expensive. And so I do think that this makes sense in that capacity. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in on this live stream. We've gone for almost 2 hours. We've had a ton of people pop in. It's been a huge blessing to us to be able to do this. So thank you guys for joining us here on the NBA Draft live stream here on the Athletic NBA Daily's YouTube stream. This will go up on the podcast feed as well. So we'll have more NBA Draft content for you guys throughout the rest of the week. We'll have a recap of the second round tomorrow. So looking forward to that. And we will talk to you guys again sometime tomorrow.